standing on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
Now, in New York City, we have ranked choice voting. Not the entire state, but New York City. So if you're in New York and you plan on voting in this upcoming election, because we got a mayor election, by all means, understand that you're going to have multiple choices. It's not going to be either or. It's not going to be either or. See, in this country, they only give you two choices, left or right. Tyrannical tyrant to dictator dictating his dictatorship. You got blue MAGA, red MAGA. You got extremists on both sides. Now you're in a position where you can actually put other people running for office that's not part of those labels as a second choice. So they're the Green Party, if they're being ran by the Black Panther Party, because I believe in that, the black community should detach from this party and form their own bloc and run their own candidates. If you're like that, you're in a good place if you live in New York. And you need to put this as an initiative on your next ballot in your state, in your city, for ranked choice voting. See, this makes an open field easier to run in. You have to deal with the bylaws of the Democratic Party or the bylaws of the Republican Party and come up with a lame excuse why you won't continue to run this race when you know both of these fools are nutso and they don't need to be president or vice president or governor or whatever. You now have choices. So if you like Eric Adams, the borough president of Brooklyn, cool dude, I met him. I mean, he want to help me with my plant-based living. As you can see, I'm kind of broadened up on the shoulders and everything because I've been doing a little workout. He's helping me get more healthy, so he's a shining example of plant-based eating. So you got him, you got quite a few other people here, Andrew Yang and all these people running for office. So now you get a chance to pick your first, second, and third choice. So if you're in New York City, let me go ahead and do this for you while I got you here. All right, New York election. What is ranked choice voting? New York City will use ranked choice voting to primary and special election. Here's what you need to know. Well, you need to go ahead and continue to make it ranked choice voting the official election. Now, we're one step ahead, but they're still not going to do that for the general. Ranked choice voting should be for the general as well. Just a year after 2020 presidential election charted a new course for the United States, folks in New York City will head back to the polls to chart a new course for the nation's most populous metropolis, bars. But recent history suggested the Democratic candidate will be a heavy favorite over the Republican counterpart. That means the true main event might be the Democratic primary set for June 22. Why? Because it's not open. It's an open primary pretty much here in New York City. In the primaries, anybody can come vote for anybody. You got ranked choice voting. But we have to continue to push this to make this part of the general voting process. A dozen candidates are on the ballot. No clear front runner has emerged. It's the lady, she was in charge of sanitation. So how on earth are you going to choose a single candidate with absolute confidence that they're best suited to govern? Well, for the first time in history, New York City will use ranked choice voting for their upcoming 2021 primary and special election. So if it end up being a runoff, you get to do ranked choice voting, I guess. Or if somebody dropping out of office early and you have a special election, you can use ranked choice voting. You can use ranked choice voting in the primary. So pretty much it's open, and they're allowing you to pick and choose first, second, third in the Democratic Party. In the Democratic Party only. So that's misleading to have you think the entire city was for ranked choice voting. No, only in the Democratic Party they're doing the ranked choice voting. You see what it says? The New York City will use ranked choice voting in their upcoming 2021 primary and special election. So New York, you're not quite there yet. This needs to be part of the election process, not just because they said once New York goes, it goes everywhere else. We're supposed to be the premier people, the first starters that get everything. We're the one that get the ball rolling on certain issues. So New York need to stop this and continue to go forward and make it available for the general. It's already a relatively new voting format that dramatically reimagined how we choose our leaders. It's not new. It's only new to this country because we want to try to have a hold of the system. Now, I'm not going to go into what ranked choice voting does. Well, I can, but it doesn't mean anything. If a candidate gets a majority of the vote, over 50%, they're declared the winner. However, if no candidate gets a majority of the vote, of course, there's going to be a runoff. That's how it is in a lot of states. The last place candidate is eliminated, and their votes are parceled out to the voter's second choice. I want you to hear that. The last place candidate is eliminated. The last place candidate is eliminated. Their votes are parceled out to the voter's second choice. A new tally is conducted to determine whether any candidate has won a majority of the adjusted votes. The process is repeated until a candidate wins an outright majority and is declared winner. Remember what it says up here. If a candidate gets a majority of votes over 50%, so they're requiring for you to get at least 50% of the vote to be declared a winner. Not 46, not 35, but you got to get at least 50%. Now, these are just some of the people that's running for office. This young lady right here, she is the front runner now. I'm really pushing for Eric because Eric is a former cop, and I met Eric, and, you know, me and Eric got our issues, but Eric can be pushed on some issues. You know, and he really don't forget where he come from. If you don't know Eric's story, as a kid, he had run-ins with the police department, being falsely accused, being roughed up, and he decided to run become a police officer to try to deal with that. Now, I don't know how far he went with uncovering the crap that was going on in NYPD, but I guess obviously enough that he ended up being a borough president of Brooklyn. So you got to understand, that's like being a governor of the state. Brooklyn is almost as big, have more population than Albany. So this brother, you got to get a chance, and I may try to get him on the show because I don't do interviews, but I may do a call in and have him call in to the show. I already know about Andrew Yang. The lady on your right, I'll give you more information on her also. Voters will be able to submit ballots one of two ways using AutoMark ballot marketing device, which I don't trust, or via paper ballots. I barely trust paper ballots. AutoMark display each choice as a separate screen. On the first screen, you will select your first. See, this is talking about computerized voting. Okay, paper ballots are the best way to go. If you have a second choice candidate, you will select a candidate on the next screen labeled choice 2. Now, what if it's somebody you don't like? What if somebody you don't know? They can tell you again, either you're going to pick this person or that person. In other words, they're still going to find some way to control your vote. If you prefer, you can still vote for just one candidate. To do so, select your first choice candidate on the choice 1 screen and do not select anyone for any other choices on the screen. In other words, they're allowing you to make a decision that I'm just going to vote for this person. The rest of them could kiss my behind. I don't know why would you do that. Always have a backup. Pick your first choice candidates and fill in the oval next to their name under the first column. If you have a second choice candidate, fill out the oval next to their names in the second column. You can continue until you rank up to 5 candidates. All right, so New York is progressing when it comes to voting. Problem is, they're tiptoeing around this instead of going full. It's only for mayoral elections, or maybe for the election for comptroller, bureau president, and things like that. But overall, in New York, they're not entertaining this idea of a ranked choice voting system. New York City, they do. Problem is, they're not going to do it in the general. They're only going to do it in the primaries. What's the use of doing ranked choice voting? But at least we are moving forward when it comes to ranked choice voting. And my hat's off to New York. Let's continue to push them to go full-fledged ranked choice voting for any position in the state of New York, for any election, whether it be the primary or the general. Let's continue to push that forward. Let's continue to push open primaries, because it is essential for us to be able to move forward in this country, because now we can vote our conscience instead of feel like we're being forced doo-doo down our throat, whether it's white dried doggy doo-doo or your own poop. I don't want to eat that mess. So hopefully this will give you opportunity where they don't have to cram crap down your throat. That day is coming. This particular process is not that day yet, but it is still coming.